We're the IT team. My name is Mr. Nethers. I'm the IT director. I float all 3 campuses. So you'll see me a little bit. Mr. Bennett will be back in a little bit. He's your primary tech on this campus. Anytime you break a Chromebook, have an IT question, or your teacher does, you'll probably see him first. This is Mr. Deal. He's actually from the Plant Street campus. So if any of you had ever been there, you may have seen him. And that's Miss Conover. She was with the IT team. She's not curriculum, but she'll be your resource for if there's any academic, educational software questions. So you'll probably not interact with her much. All right, so we're going to get started. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Chromebooks, our expectations of use, and move on from there. So as you know, or probably know, you're going to be getting a Chromebook. We do expect that you bring it every day, and we expect that it's charged. If it's not charged, you'll end up with a demerit. We do kind of give you a warning one time, let you borrow a loaner, but after that, you do end up with demerits. Demerits, if they kind of add up, and then you get it with things like detentions, stuff like that. So please bring it to school charged. We don't like giving out demerits. It's not fun for us. It's not fun for you guys. So charge it. For you guys, you're getting an Acer Chromebook C871. It's the newest student device on campus. It's got some cool new features that nobody else on campus has. So you'll be the first students with Wi-Fi 6. It's the newest standard of Wi-Fi. It's faster and has a wider bandwidth. So you'll have the best Wi-Fi on campus. It's also got the newest CPU. It's still more of an entry-level device, so it's not like you're going to be able to play high-level games on it, but we do expect you to be able to load more tabs than your peers, stuff like that. So it is a pretty good device. It's got higher resolution, which means you'll have more pixel space on the screen, meaning you can see more stuff than your peers. So all in all, you have the best student Chromebook on campus. That is exciting. You're going to hear that every day, 6-7 times a day, so get used to that. If you'd like, and if you have a pen, we suggest you write down support@foundationacademy.net. If you have any questions with IT, that's your first line of defense for asking. That's our help desk. It'll make a ticket. We can interact with you through there, help you out, especially if you're not here or it's after hours. This is also how you get to the help desk. Every one of your Chromebooks will have this in your Chrome browser, so you click the little blue icon. You don't need to click it, and that'll open up the help desk. You sign in with your Google account, you just click the Google icon, and we'll cover that in just a minute. All right, Mr. Ben. All right, so we take digital citizenship here a little bit serious. It's important that you're respectful to each other, both online and in person. Your online actions are treated just like your in-person actions, so please be considerate, be age respectful, so don't be visiting adult sites that you shouldn't be visiting, and just consider the following. We expect that you make good choices. Your online actions do stay with you forever. So if you decide you're gonna go on social media and post something and you're not thinking about it, it may not be us that catches it, and it may be years down the road, but we've seen kids, not here, but we've seen kids that post something, and then 6 months later, when they go and get a college scholarship, it gets rejected about 6 months down the road. When that coach finds out that they tweeted something inappropriate, we've seen kids lose $100,000 scholarships from something they tweeted a year ago. So don't do stuff like that. It sticks with you forever. There's no reset button. You delete that post, it's still there somewhere. Between a screenshot, server log, a system cache, they can always bring that back. There's no reset button like there is on a video game. You're stuck with what you posted, so keep that in mind when you're posting. You are being watched. We're not watching your cameras, we're not watching you physically, but all your digital actions, they're traced, they're logged, they're monitored. So we get a report of what you've done. So if somebody ever says, hey, what did this student do on December 29th? We can come back and look at the list and see what you guys are doing. Does that make sense? Yeah? So we're not watching cameras, we are watching your digital actions. Your Chromebook's recorded, and we don't want to call dad. Sometimes it happens, you guys are making repeated actions. If you accidentally visit something, it gets blocked, that's fine. But if you're trying to visit that resource frequently, that's when it becomes a problem. Please do limit your use. The Chromebook's intended for educational purposes only, so we like you to make friends, not digital friends. It's a much better situation. Please take some time this evening to read and sign the Chromebook handbook. The link's really long for it, so the easiest way to find the Chromebook handbook is to Google Foundation Academy Chromebook Handbook. In order to get your Chromebook on the first day of school, you actually have to have signed the Chromebook handbook, so please go ahead and do that. It outlines the do's, don'ts, and how-tos, and things like, if I break my Chromebook, how do I get it repaired? That type of process, all right? You guys do own the Chromebook, so if you guys decide I'm gonna put it in my backpack and chuck my backpack across the floor, and it breaks the screen, that's usually the thing that breaks, you guys get to repair that through us. It's about 60 bucks, and that's about the only repair we do in-house. It's the most commonly broken repair, but if anything else breaks, it should be under warranty the first year. and you'll be good to go from there. All right, Mr. Ben. So on the topic of monitoring, people are usually curious what we're looking for. We record and report every virtual interaction. Like I said, there's a log. Your parents actually get a weekly summary. They can choose to get a daily summary, and they can actually take some at-home actions with it as well. Like when you're at home, they can choose to allow you to do online streaming. We have streaming turned off, so things like Netflix, Pandora, those are turned off. But if you go home and your parents are like, that's okay, through their app, they can actually choose to turn it on for you guys. That's also where they're going to get those activity reports, the same app. As well as when you're in the classroom, the teachers can observe and control your screen. So when you guys are sitting together in a large group like this, it's hard to watch everybody's screen at the same time. So they actually have an app on their device that they can see what you're doing. They can control your screen, lock it to a tab, that type of thing. Makes it a lot easier for classroom management. It also means you guys get to have your Chromebooks out more than before when we had that. Like I said before, sites will be blocked. We expect you guys to use them educationally. So if there's a site that is determined to not be educational, it will be blocked. If you feel like there's a site that we've blocked that should be allowed for educational purposes, there's a button you can click. It'll send us an email. Please don't do that with every single game site you go to. They're all going to be blocked, and kids do that, and we just ignore those emails. But if you do actually want a resource to be unblocked, you can use that link. All right, Mr. Ben. All right, so like we said, we're a Google school. How many of you have never used a Google account? There should be a couple of you. No? Nobody wants to raise their hand? All right. So we are a Google school, which means you're all going to get a Google account. Your Google account's used for much more than email here. So at the bottom, you can see we use Gmail for email, Google Classroom for coursework, Google Drive for file storage, and so on. So within your classes, each one of you are going to get a Google Classroom for each of your class. That means you'll be able to see online homework, interact with your peers, do commenting and stuff like that on there. Also, if your teacher records anything, they can post it there. To log into your Chromebook, if you'll write down both these yellow items, your login is going to be your first initial. So my name's Tim. So it's T, and then my last name is Nethers. So T Nethers, and then the last four of my RenWeb ID at fastudent.net. So if your name is Jake Peralta and your RenWeb ID is 102799, your email would be jperalta2799 at fastudent.net. Does everyone understand? First name, first letter of your name, last four of your RenWeb. All right.
Can I interrupt really quickly?
Yep.
If you're a previous student here, we have not changed your passwords. Okay, your password is whatever you left it.
We'll reactivate your account if it's.
Well, they've a lot of you. How many of you were at Planscape last year for 6th grade?
Oh, perfect.
So they all have active.
Awesome. So you guys know Google. Perfect. All right, your password, it will get reset. Your password is going to be your first name, and then the last four of your RenWeb ID. That's for your Google account. Are you doing that for RenWeb or no?
So what I will do is go through RenWeb, and those of you who do not have your own student RenWeb account, I will create a username and password for you. But a bunch of you already have. How many of you know your login for RenWeb already?
All right.
So I won't change that. If that's already existing in there, I'll leave it alone. If it's not, I'm going to change it.
And if you hit reset, it should go to your email one. Your email one's your school email, so it should email you for passwords. All right. So I'm going to hand this over to Ms. Conover. She's going to cover your RenWeb portion.
Okay, so those of you who are with us already know this, and those who are new, we have got, so you've got Google Classroom, which Mr. Nethers talked about. That is going to be your online, as it were, classroom. We're not really going to be online, but that's your digital classroom. And then RenWeb is where your grades are and your attendance, your behavior, all of those things are kept track of on RenWeb. Your parents have their own account to RenWeb, but they have the ability to create for you a student account. And once you come to this campus, you have to have a student account. Those of you who don't have one, I will be making one for you. And I will get you that login. We already talked about what that will be, and your password will be your first name, just like your Google account. Your password will be your first name and the last four of your student ID, okay? So RenWeb, the easiest way for you guys to get to the right RenWeb page is to go to our website. If you just Google RenWeb, it's not as easy, but if you go to our website, over here on the right-hand side when you're facing this RenWeb portal, click on that, it's gonna bring you to this screen. Our district code is capital FA-FL. Your parents know that because they've already have an account. So if you forget what that is, you can ask them. And then you're going to need your username and password. Really important is that you click on student at the bottom. If you try and click, if you forget and you hit enter, it's going to default to parent. And it's going to think you're trying to sign in as a parent. It's going to say you can't log in, obviously. So you just need to make sure you change it and that you put on there that you're logging in as a student. That's where you can go to each one of your classes and see what your homework is and see what your grades are, so you're not surprised. So I recommend that you go on every so often and you look so that you can see what your grades are, so you know you've got some missing things. Your parents will get alerts. They sign up for alerts when you have a missing or a 0 or something like that. But it's better if you know ahead of time than coming home and your parents are like, hey, why did I get this alert? Isn't it so much better if you're like, I realize this is missing. It's from when I was sick. The teacher said I have till this day to make it up. Parents like it so much better when you already have a plan than when you get behind and you have no plan, right? To get those things caught up. So use RenWeb, really important. You can make a bookmark for it on your Chromebook. And when we start school, I'll make sure that you guys have the information for logging into RenWeb when you actually have your Chromebook in front of you. If you get to the point where you cannot log in to your RenWeb account and you need help, you're going to go to the guidance office. When we go on the tour at the end, you'll see where the guidance office is. Mrs. Gibson sits right in the front there. She's more than happy to help you get logged into your RenWeb account. So don't go through the first quarter of school not able to get in there. Okay, make sure that you can get in there and you can see what's happening with your grades and stuff like that. Okay, you can even check your attendance. Once you're over here, your attendance goes by your class. So if you miss a bunch of one class for one reason or the other, let's say you leave early a lot, then you'll start getting emails from Mr. Boland that says you've missed too many of this class. It's not the same as the whole day. So